Yeah, sure. Are we on? All right. Welcome, everybody, to our March 16th council meeting. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Welcome, everybody. Here. Next item on our agenda is public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment via email should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting to have their public comment read into the record. Do we have anybody present who would like to offer a comment this evening?
You go with number. Go, Charlie.
Go right ahead.
Go, Charlie.
Step right up.
I'm the only one? No, I don't. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sure?
Somebody take a step. It's dreary outside. Let's get this going.
This is dreary also. I have 2 pages to read, that's all. Very short.
Charlie,
I'd like to thank you, Mayor Smith and the Town Council.
Charlie, sorry, but can you just, we know who you are, but can you just say your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Yes, Charlie Wisnowski, 670 Old Main Street. I'll thank you, Mayor Smith and the Town Council, for permitting me to speak on March 2nd. I have public comments on the public property, the Veterans Green and adjacent streets. Without an opportunity to participate in an unfolding process to spend my tax money to alter my neighborhood, I shout out the following. The bids are due tomorrow. Next, a winner will be announced. Apparently, there is a selection committee required by the state. SLR, Kelson Rose Engineer, was invited to bid. In my opinion, some of the bid material sent to them was created by them, including the conceptual design or concept sketch. Some language in the bid package is similar to what was presented to the town by SLR in March 2025. In my opinion, it may be perceived that favoritism is present. This is borne out by the difference in the cover emails to SLR versus the other 3 targeted firms. In my opinion, there has been unequal access to project information. SLR has worked with the town of Rocky Hill on the elements of the bid request in 2023, 2024, and 2025. In my opinion, SLR had advanced knowledge of the project scope, as evidenced by multiple proposals sent to the town with adjustments based upon cost estimates discussed with the town. Next issue is the health, safety, welfare, and public policy. In my opinion, the bid request and the vision of the Veterans Memorial Green developed by SLR and the town's engineer does not incorporate the explicit public policy of the town. Why do I say that? Rocky Hill zoning regulations and map establish the town center district. The 2025 Plan of Conservation and Development of Rocky Hill significantly focuses on the town center and the public policies of pedestrians, walkability, and slow speed streets. The Town Council passed a resolution on June 5th, 2023, adopting a complete streets policy, including language that roadways be safe and convenient, including pedestrians and bicyclists. So what is wrong with the town SLR plan and narrative? It was created in 2024 without public input. It was created before the June 2025 adoption of the Plan of Conservation and Development, which states, pedestrians, not vehicles, a high-quality pedestrian network, and where pedestrian considerations generally outweigh vehicular considerations. The town SLR effort does not incorporate Connecticut General Assembly, Connecticut Transportation Institute, and Connecticut DOT OSTA recommendations that a pedestrian safety zone can be established in a town center zone. You, the town council, have the approval authority to lower the speed below 25 miles per hour. The town SLR plan does not consider the report to the town council's Public Safety Subcommittee on March 2nd, 2026. Data were presented that documented a daily average number of speeding vehicles at Main Street and Garden Street of 2,856. This is at the northern tip of Veterans Memorial Green. There is no reason to believe that the driver's behavior is different on Dividend Road. What do I want? Do not jeopardize or delay the $500,000 for issues related to the selection of a consultant. Express to the public a means to participate in the process of the evolution of our neighborhood in this specific location, but also for future similar situations. Do we need all this effort for some stop signs and traffic speed signs? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Do we have somebody else?
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, just one minute. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Charlie.
Glasses.
Oh, your glasses.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heather Taylor. I live at 50 Elm Street. I'm also right now the moderator of Rocky Hill Congregational Church. Moderator means I basically was elected as chairperson of the church, and it's in that capacity that I want to talk to you. We are celebrating our 300th anniversary next year, so we're preparing for that. So we increasingly strive to position ourselves as a community center and a resource for people, all residents of Rocky Hill, not just members of our own congregation. So we've had several really successful concerts and other educational events and things which have been great. We love the fact that increasingly the town center is a place of vibrancy. Walkability has improved. We have bike racks now at several locations, which we love. So our church is in favor of things that bring a vibrancy and a sense of community to this area of town, the town center. And to that end, I would love to see the town amend its public arts policy to consider proposed art projects that could take place not just in the town's parks, but also in this area of town. We would love the increased visibility and vibrancy and sense of community that could be possible if art like that was considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed Ciccarello, 40 Riverview Road. Excuse me. Penso che sono così non... Oh, sorry. Wrong paper. Wrong. That was... I'm speaking for my wife tonight, Alexis Ciccarello. She wrote a statement, and I'd like to read her statement into the record. So Alexis Ciccarello, 40 Riverview Road. I'm here today as a member of Rocky Hill Arts Now, as the program director of the Rocky Hill Historical Society, and as a member of the Rocky Hill Theater Group, the Hillside Players. I have lived in Rocky Hill for over 30 years, and in that time, there has been little in the way of public art and public art policy. I believe it's about time that we champion the arts in Rocky Hill and commit ourselves to supporting arts initiatives such as the Pride Crosswalk. Also, we must push for development that centers on the needs of Rocky Hill, the Rocky Hill community in regards to designing shared public space. I believe Rocky Hill needs more public art. I would like to encourage you today to consider and adopt the revisions to the current Rocky Hill arts policy. As it stands today, it is really a crosswalk policy and not an arts policy. By expanding it to include additional locations in town and including works of art and other disciplines, it will truly be a public arts policy. No doubt public art is crucial to the vitality of a town, as it is a means to enlivening its streetscapes, to developing a distinctive sense of place, to stimulating economic growth, and to increasing the visual quality of the environment for its townspeople and visitors alike. It is a proven fact that the benefits of public art to the well-being of a community are numerous. Therefore, I urge you to please pass the revisions to the Rocky Hill Arts Policy. Thank you for your consideration and support of the arts in Rocky Hill. And if I just may go back to my own Ed Ciccarello self, I do support everything Charlie Wisniewski is talking about. And I remember I came here, I don't know, a couple of months ago perhaps, complaining a little bit about the communication in regards to people from the council and staff getting in touch with people from the podium. And I just want to say over the last couple of months, I really appreciated the folks who have reached out to me. You know who you are. And I look forward to communicating with all of you in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Anybody else step up to the podium?
Hi, my name's Frank Shank. I live at 121 Pebblebrook Drive, and that's in Rocky Hill. Hi, Alan. How you doing today?
Hello.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the Rocky Hill Arts Policy. Art is really good for every community, and it has to be in the right place, I think, like where people could see it and stuff like that. But what I think is not good to be on public buildings or school buildings and stuff like that. But in the buildings, I think it would be good. The hallways, the gym, somewhere when you walk into school, something like that. But not on the buildings. So I think everyone that lives here, if they built a brick house, I don't think they're gonna paint it, because bricks ain't made to be painted. But anyway, that's what I want to say. Thank you for my consideration.
Thank you.
Very good.
Any, yeah?
Hello, Mary Beth Maluccio, 4 Kroll Farm Road. I'm here tonight to share some thoughts on the public art in Rocky Hill. I read the 4-page artwork policy adopted November 1st, 2024, and from start to finish, I struggled to find any language that described art and a process to inspire people in town to create something that defines us and inspires us as members of Rocky Hill. I looked up the definition of artistic: having or revealing natural creative skill, aesthetically pleasing. Art is the result of people who create, imagine, invent, and express feelings, emotions. Art is an aesthetic. It can be beautiful. It can be inspirational. The policy, as I read it, the statement in the first paragraph says that public art is a catalyst for social interaction and education, and I agree. But what about imagination, inspiration, creativity, and beauty? We need our residents to help us define who we are with our art, and then have people think about who we aspire to be. The policy says our public art can only be painted on crosswalks, sidewalks, and parking lots located in public parks. Why is this the only idea that the writers believe is art? I imagine that public art can be a beautiful sign that is seen in the location where it stands in a park or a garden or planters of beautiful flowers. Public art can also be inside town buildings, as the gentleman said, pictures painted by residents of all ages. I'm sure that our town school buildings display art on the walls, on bulletin boards, and maybe outside as well. The second paragraph under this policy, under purposes, says the policy talks about procedures and guidelines. It says that the purpose of this policy is to establish rules and regulations as an expression of the town's official government speech. Is that all we are? Is that how we want our elected leaders to invite our residents to open their imaginations and to reflect on who we are in Rocky Hill and who we aspire to be? How do we inspire our neighbors, friends, and elected officials to be inventive, to think out of the box, to bring beauty and inspiration to our home? How can our community members step forward to engage in creative and imaginative ideas? The policy does not say. Instead, it repeats that art can only be considered on crosswalks, sidewalks, and parking lots, and that the town may reject proposed artworks for any reason. Is that really what we want to tell our residents? The next part of the policy, under preliminary review of requests and suggestions, says that the town staff will review the requests or suggestions, and once it is approved by the staff, the town council can weigh in. I suggest that the town council should look at the ideas brought forward from townspeople first, and/or maybe an ad hoc committee of townspeople to enable a safe and encouraging group of residents to share the thoughts and ideas from artists who come forward with an idea. It is not easy for creative people to share their ideas. There should be a group of people who will hear and see their neighbor's artwork and come to a polite and heartfelt response to someone's art. A collaborative group of neighbors may help to inspire each other to produce the final product, or simply to enable those who are interested in putting their ideas forward without the fear or pain of rejection. The last sentence in the policy is the town may order the removal of or may remove the public artwork after providing written notice to the requester at any time in its sole discretion. This is, I don't know what they mean by town, if it's the staff. Again, is this the kind of language that reflects who we are in our town, our leaders, our staff, and our neighbors? I hope that you will consider replacing this policy in this town council, perhaps by recruiting residents for an ad hoc public art committee to hear and share ideas, to invite residents to participate in this effort. People who will encourage and inspire us all on how to beautify and inspire our town as a reflection of who we are and who we aspire to be as neighbors and friends in Rocky Hill. And I just wanted to mention here about enhancing our parks and public spaces. When I visited the town's website, I found it challenging to locate a comprehensive list of all the parks in our public farm. This highlights the need for better visibility and recognition of these valuable community resources. In addition, incorporating historic markers throughout our parks would not only provide useful information, but also add an attractive element to these spaces. Beyond markers, there are other ways to make our parks more inviting and engaging. For example, adding flowers, benches, or picnic tables, especially if they are painted in bright, cheerful colors, could significantly enhance the beauty and appeal of our public spaces. These improvements would encourage more residents to enjoy our parks and foster a greater sense of community pride. I also think some residents would appreciate having the chance to help with the town's beautification efforts. I know that in other towns like Weathersfield, they have garden clubs who volunteer in different areas of the town to maintain and clean up gardens that are near the road or, whatever. So, anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, Alan Baglia, 12 Esther Road. I'm speaking in front of the town council for the second time on the same topic, which is an important topic to me. I was an art history major for reasons I can't fully explain, but I was, and my neighbor at Florida State in Tallahassee, was a philosophy major. And we shared a terrace. And he taught me about Maslow's hammer, otherwise known as the golden hammer. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This means you're only using one tool. You need more tools, right? It's a cognitive bias to think that you only need one hammer. To cultivate diverse skills would be a better solution. To encourage teamwork is a better way, and to question whether the current approach is the best. And I'm here to ask if the policy for Rocky Hill Public Arts is the best. On March 2nd, at the last town council meeting, it was asked, has anyone asked for a change in this policy? It's like Groundhog Day. Last time I was here, I asked for a change in this policy. People came up and asked for a change in this policy, and it was, maybe people weren't fully listening to public comment. It's on the minutes recorded by Ray's new robot machine that every verbatim word is stated, and you could read back that, yes, people have asked. I'm going to go through a fairly quick speed round of what Rocky Hill Arts Now is, through some touchstones and highlights of a group of residents that was founded on January 2nd, 2025, not yet named. That was about 60 weeks ago that we've been meeting once a month. Mission statement: to promote, enhance, and support art in Rocky Hill to the benefit of the community by creating access to art and meaningful public spaces. I emphasize plural spaces. April 27th, we had a publicly announced launch. Saw some of you here. Thank you for attending. Rocky Hill Arts Now Meet the Artist, and announced that we are a fully formed LLC. We raised $180. Mona, every dollar helps. On June 24th, a publicly announced presentation by the Connecticut Department of Transportation on I-91's exit realignments. Everyone knows I call that the Taco Bell exit. The project manager is David Santini. Present at that meeting was Mayor Lisa Murata, Town Engineer Steve Sopelek, Town Manager Ray Carpentino. It's where the Greetings from Rocky Hill public art was proposed by Mr. Ciccarello in a public setting. It's a project that I support. On the 11th of September, 2025, in a publicly announced meeting, we were asked by the Friends of the Library to talk about who we are. What is Rocky Hill Arts Now? Who are we, and what are our objectives? 30 people attended that meeting. We spoke about our objectives being public art in public spaces. December 20th of 2025, at a publicly announced meeting, and the community center, we hosted a feedback on the design and location possibilities, plural. On January 20th, 2026, here I stood before you in public comment supporting changes to the policy. On March 2nd, 2026, discussion, possible action about public art policy, when again it was asked, has anyone asked for a change in this policy? March 9th, 2029, I'm winding down. Rocky Hill Arts Now we met again with our artist and his representation business manager. We talked about costs. We talked about multiple options on locations. Here, a little dovetail to the, I'm a proof of concept person. I understand you want to try something before it works. It's upwards of $9,000 to paint a crosswalk. We're not going to do it flippantly. So proof of concept to throw $9,000 into a project to say, if it works, we're going to do a project that we believe in fully. On March 16th, today, at this town council meeting, I asked you to please accept the changes to the public arts policy. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sean Boyle, 8 Woodhaven Road. My comments tonight are specifically around the debate within this council on whether or not to allow painting, decorating of murals, street art, or the like themed messages on publicly owned assets. I want to start by making it clear that my position and forthcoming comments are not about opposing any group or individuals in our community, as I believe every resident deserves the respect and freedom to express their views and their opinions. The question before you, however, is about the proper use of publicly funded property and the role of you all as our local government. Our town's buildings, roads, and public spaces are paid for and maintained by all taxpayers. They belong equally to every resident, regardless of their political views, social causes, beliefs, or religious convictions. Because these spaces belong to everyone, they should remain neutral civic spaces. Not platforms for groups or the government endorsement of particular causes or ideology. The Rocky Hill community is made up of people with many different backgrounds and beliefs. While some residents may strongly support a particular proposed image, message, logo, or flag, others will certainly disagree with it. Maintaining neutrality in our public infrastructure ensures that all residents feel equally represented by their local government. Of course, any social group or private individual has the right to solicit private residents and private businesses to promote their cause. Those individuals or businesses, of course, have their right to display any colors or logos or symbols that they deem appropriate or they support on their private home or their private business. That is entirely the appropriate place for such an expression of their support. However, publicly funded property should be treated differently. Once government and this council may move forward by allowing public spaces and assets to promote a cause, you are actually creating a precedent for future councils to allow other causes as well to follow suit, which may be more in line with their base and their support, some of which may be far more controversial or diverse. For these reasons, I respectfully believe that our public buildings, roads, and infrastructure should remain neutral spaces and that belong equally to everyone in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anything else? Anyone else, I mean? Daniel, you have some?
Yeah, I have a few to read.
Okay.
First, Lisa Gilbert, 730 Elm Street. Dear members of the Rocky Hill Town Council, I am writing to express my opposition to the proposal allowing murals on public buildings in the town of Rocky Hill. Public buildings are owned collectively by all residents and should remain neutral civic spaces. Unlike private property, municipal buildings represent the entire community and should not be used to display permanent artistic or expressive works that may reflect particular viewpoints, styles, or messages that not all residents support. Establishing a policy that permits murals on public buildings also creates long-term governance challenges. Decisions about which artwork is appropriate, who selects it, and how disagreements are handled can quickly place town officials in the position of arbitrating artistic expression. Once murals are permitted, it becomes difficult to apply standards consistently or avoid claims of favoritism or viewpoint discrimination. There are also practical considerations. Murals require ongoing maintenance, restoration, and in some cases, removal. These costs ultimately fall on taxpayers and create obligations for future town administrations. Public facilities should primarily serve their intended civic functions rather than becoming canvases that require continuing oversight and funding. Rocky Hill can support local artists and cultural expression in ways that do not place permanent artwork on municipal buildings. Encouraging murals on private property, supporting local arts programs, or designating voluntarily community art spaces would allow artistic expression to flourish while preserving the neutrality and purpose of public infrastructure. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the Town Council to reject policies allowing murals on public buildings and to instead pursue arts initiatives that do not place the town government in the position of selecting or endorsing permanent artistic displays. Thank you for your consideration and your service to the residents of Rocky Hill. Next is Valerie Triblets of 2 Belden Lane. Dear council members, I'm contacting you to support the proposed changes to the public artwork display policy, allowing art to be displayed and created outside of our public parks. Art, by nature, is meant to be displayed and accessible to everyone and by everyone. When you think of the most vibrant and connected communities in the world, art is always part of that equation of shared humanity, meaningful messaging, and appreciation for beauty. Those communities draw people to them with a sense of openness and creativity. When I walk through our town center, I want to feel the vibrancy of life. Please approve the changes to the public artwork policy for our community. Next is Tony Saculo. My name is Tony Saculo, and I reside at 58 Jennifer's Way in Rocky Hill. I'm sorry that I will be unable to attend the March 16th Town Council meeting. However, I would like to provide my support for a change in the town's public art policy with this email. I feel previous administration was not really on board with the spirit of this policy, and as a result, they produced a policy that was too constrictive in how we could incorporate and enjoy public art within our community. My interpretation of the current policy seems to restrict art to just parking spots and public parks. That's just so draconian and unfortunately typical of the current Republican philosophy. I am fully supportive of the public art policy that would expand where public art would be permitted, that would encompass not only any crosswalks in town, but also allow sculptures and murals to add to the beauty of Rocky Hill. Towns such as West Hartford and Middletown enjoy public art, and it brightens up the community. I'd like to see that here too. I trust our current administration and its appropriate committees to provide the needed checks, balances, and criterion to provide for responsible public art that will enhance and beautify our community and make it more fun place to be. Thanks, Tony. Next is Lori Bosky of 18 Highland Street. I am writing in support of the recommended changes in the public arts policy. The current policy, as written, is restrictive. Public art is accessible to all, stimulates conversation, connects communities, and can turn concrete spaces into inviting locations. The proposed changes would expand locations and provide opportunities for many members of our community. Next is Susan Lennon. Dear members of the Rocky Hill Town Council, I'm writing as a Rocky Hill resident to support expanding the town's public art policy so that community art projects can be proposed in more locations and forms. Public art contributes to a community's identity, encourages civic pride, and creates spaces that invite connection and creativity. As the policy itself recognizes, public artwork can serve as a catalyst for social interaction, education, and cultural enrichment for residents and visitors alike. However, the current policy, adopted in November 2024, is so narrowly structured that it effectively limits public art to painted crosswalks and parking spaces within parks. Within those are interesting ideas. They represent only a very small slice of what the public art can be. Some have suggested that the lack of applications under the current policy means there is little interest in public art projects. In reality, the opposite may be true. When a policy allows only a very narrow type of project in limited locations, it signals that creative proposals are unlikely to fit within the framework. Community groups, artists, and organizations are understandably reluctant to invest time developing ideas when the possibilities are so constrained. Expanding the policy does not require the town to approve every proposal, nor does it remove the town council's oversight. It simply allows ideas to come forward and be thoughtfully reviewed. In other words, Rocky Hill should not limit creativity before it even has a chance to appear. A more flexible policy would show that the town welcomes community participation while still maintaining appropriate review, safety standards, and final approval authority. If we want public arts in Rocky Hill, we have to make space for it. Thank you for your time and for your continued service to the community. Two more. Lynn Tracy, 48 Church Street. Hello, I am a local artist and would be thrilled to see the arts expanded within the community. There are many local artists and musicians. It would be great to have a visual connection and a presence in an active area of town where residents and visitors alike can appreciate and enjoy displays of beautiful creations. Live acoustic music, murals, decorative and themed contests, etc., could offer uplifting energy for the senses and inspiration for our youth. Thank you for consideration of expanding the arts policy. Lastly, John Beatty of 698 Maple Street. Dear Rocky Hill Town Council, I've been watching the town council meetings on YouTube. Recently, there have been discussions about creating beautiful artistic portraits around our town. On the surface, this sounds wonderful, until one starts asking adult questions. 1, what will this cost? The proponents say it's free. Total costs include administrative costs. 2, where will they go? It sounds like this needs to be determined. However, it sounds like proponents are eyeing crosswalks, buildings, and bridges so far. 3, who will create this art? 4, who decides who creates this art? 5, who will decide the specs of the material used on the artistic project? 6, who will decide content? 7, who approves the concept among all the competitive concepts? 8, who will regulate quality of content, the quality of the artist? 9, who will decide approved locations of proposed artwork? 10, if applied content doesn't match what was approved or doesn't age well due to material used, who is responsible for removing it? If I recall correctly, the town council spent months in the previous year determining a policy for this artwork, and to date, not one project has appeared. Why are we doing this again? Crosswalk safety. During the debate last year, I recall that some proponents suggested we artistically paint the crosswalks on one of the numerous state roads that crisscross Rocky Hill. The state would not allow this due to safety concerns. My experience is that paint on roadways creates a very slippery surface when it gets wet. This was best exemplified in Middletown, when someone with permission artistically painted an entire intersection within Wesleyan University footprint several years ago. This happened to be one of our bicycle routes, and over the summer, the road portrait went from paint to covered with sand to being milled up and possibly repaved by now. Painting crosswalks anywhere is a valid safety concern. Please note that any official crosswalk is painted in stripes, leaving exposed road using special paint. Even artistically painting a crosswalk in a town park is dangerous. One may think the cars are going to go slower and there is less risk. But imagine the young child that wipes out, breaks an arm, parents sue the town, citing state crosswalk guidelines in these exact conversations. Community artwork. Is our town inadvertently stepping into a constitutional freedom of speech, freedom of expression minefield? Art is certainly a method of expressing oneself, and someone in town hall will be regulating that message. Do we really want to be in that game? Hypothetically, what happens when the concept of the pro-Hamas message is not selected? Personally, I am thinking about the lawsuits that could follow. Other negative consequences. The ill will for the person or group not selected to be the artist. Would we be inadvertently creating graffiti zones? This unwanted artwork could either be applied over the approved artwork of adjacent to the project. When paint is applied to textured surfaces, it is there for good. It is absorbed into all the nooks and cracks. Go to any city and see the 100-year-old advertisements on the side of the brick building. Will the artist be responsible for returning the canvas to its original condition if the project does not meet the original plan? Cost. Is the town going to pay someone to manage all of this? And legal fees, of course. In conclusion, superficially, community artwork, this seems like a great idea. Unfortunately, painting on the road creates a public safety concern and potential liability. Painting on buildings could range from downright ugly to expensive constitutional lawsuits. Don't we already have a very beautiful Welcome to Rocky Hill sign on all the entrances of our town? The previous administration passed a well-thought-out compromise policy last year. I do not think we need to spend any more time debating a concept that to date no one took advantage of. Lastly, I was pretty excited when Mayor Smith won because he campaigned on lowering taxes and growing the grand list. According to budget workshops and Board of Education estimates, it appears the budget could grow between 5 and 10% this year. This is not what we were promised. My last point, if this 5 to 10% estimate is accurate, the town council should not be wasting any resources on non-value added liabilities and spend that time trimming the budget. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Daniel. Moving on to item number 3, appointments and resignations. I believe we do have a couple appointments.
Yes. Councilor Prakash and I have reviewed a couple of names for alternate position for the Affordable Housing Committee, and we approved Aryan Jangle Aryan, capital Jangle, and Neha Thacker, Neha, capital Thaker, as alternates.
They're both alternates?
Yes.
Okay.
Per Kim Ritchie.
Anything, do you guys have anything?
We do not.
All right. Item number 4, approval of minutes.
Move approval of the minute, actually, I wasn't at that meeting. so I'll probably-
Anybody else? Literally anybody else then?
Minutes.
Motion to approve the meeting.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
All right. Any opposed? And one abstention. All right, subcommittee reports, finance and capital improvements. Councilor Manuel.
Finance, in terms of high-level summary, overall status on revenue, revenues are on target. Tax revenue is in line with benchmark tracking. We received the second installment of ECS money, and town aid, road, and pilot received as scheduled. Interest revenue is exceeding target, but building permit fees are a little behind target, but the staff is continuing to monitor. Expenditures are on target. The only outlier is overtime with the highway department because of the storms.
You're doing so well on that for a while, too.
Yes.
Slid right in.
Tonight's agenda, consent agenda, has 2 things. One, the suspense list, which we do pretty much every year. This is uncollected taxes that the collector must furnish to the governing body of the municipality for approval each year. And so this year, it comes to $207,515. The second item is a tax refund, and that's for Cisco. They actually paid their tax bill twice, so they're being refunded one of their payments. And that's finance.
Government ops.
We have a meeting on March 16. Schools, they do not have major project at this time. Still waiting to hear back from the state about West Hill roof that they submitted. Facility, police department generator project is 100% completed. Fire department FOB system projected is still ongoing. Park and rec, indoor pool boiler replacement will be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Dog park is open. And this is important. They like to make this service announcement that when you are done using a field, please pull your empty water bottle and trash off the field. Highway, there is a quick announcement was put on town website regarding the trash barrels. And last one is community development about the industrial park culvert replacement design. The consultant is preparing to host a public information meeting maybe in March. That's all for me.
They also said they wanted everyone to please stay off the fields until April 1st because of the weather. They want to give the chance for them to dry out and the grass to grow because we want to have nice fields for athletics. So they also asked that we stay off the fields. I think you said trash, but we want to make sure everybody stays off. Did you mention about the generator?
I did.
Oh, okay, sorry, missed that part.
Trash, I just leave it up to Ray to say.
Yeah, right, okay, that's it.
Okay. Public safety.
Public safety met prior to this meeting, and for the fire department, they had, for I-91, they have 11 calls so far this year, which is substantially down from last year.
Wow.
And the chief attributes that to a higher presence from state police. They had 85, for total, they had 85 incidents for the whole department in February. They filled the head mechanic position, and they are in the process of filling the assistant mechanic position. And I found this pretty interesting. They had 3 drone calls for February. And
Like 3 calls for their drone to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
I think it was town.
No, it is.
3 calls for our drone to be used in town.
Right.
I know they bring it to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was just 3 drone activations.
It was our drones, not other drones
Right,
coming in.
right,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. 3 drone calls is in like UFOs or something.
no.
It's a thing, yeah. Right, okay.
They would have said UFOs.
They would have said UFO, okay.
And then for the police department, actually ambulance, in total, they had 332 calls last month between the RHVA and Aetna. Our Aetna colleague wanted to point out he appreciated during the snowstorm that Station 2 was open for them, and they were provided food, and they were very, very appreciative of that. For the police department, they have basically 2 open positions there for patrol that they're going through their some applicant backgrounds, and they have a communications position open that they're going through interviewing. Health district. Charlie wasn't able to make it, but forwarded some items that I just wanted to share. So as of March 9th, the Northeast continues to detect high levels of COVID. But overall, in our area, between COVID, the flu, and RSV, it's substantially down since January. So that's a positive, obvious trend. We had a discussion on the speed cameras and the vendor, which will be coming up on our, I think that'll be next month, right? That'll come up next month for the council, for a vendor. And then we also discussed on-scene media relations policy. There's a few amendments that are going to take place. We'll finalize that next at our next meeting, and then that will come to the council too. And that's it.
Thanks. So where are we at with the vendor, with the traffic camera?
We
thing?
have-
You're saying
we have
that's
the-
going to go on,
Yeah, we have the vendor. Well, it's going to come to the council.
a vendor's going to come to the council and present something
Yeah, next month, right?
next month?
Next month. The subcommittee forwarded your recommendation to the town council. So
Okay.
now it's the town council's turn.
Okay.
Quick, can I just, you mentioned 2 patrolmen. Is that the replacement?
One was promoted, yeah,
Okay.
and I think one was retiring, one retired?
One resigned.
Resigned.
One resigned.
Yeah,
So it's replacement.
Yeah,
Okay.
both.
It's not new. Okay, thank you.
they're not added.
Good. Yep.
Thank you. Senior liaison.
I reached out to the 2 directors, and they have nothing to report for this meeting.
Land acquisition and farmland preservation.
No report. Our next meeting is Tuesday, March 24th.
Liaison to the state representative and state senator.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize in advance. It's a busy time of year. Representative Wood wanted to share a few updates. She's been working on a lot of different legislation, including stuff to expand on felony protections around animal abuse. She's working on a bill aimed at requiring affordable housing projects using certain construction methods to submit fire and life safety plans in advance to local fire marshals, and another that would expand more affordable health coverage. Finally, she's actively supporting the legislation that would create a Connecticut-India and a Connecticut-Germany Trade Commission. Our councilors testified on those bills last month, and they both were voted out of committee favorably and are moving through the process. Senator Lesser's recent activity has reflected a broad focus on resident protection, both here in Rocky Hill and across his broader district. For Rocky Hill, that's included continuing the public attention on the concierge situation and tenant-related concerns. But more broadly, his recent public work has emphasized healthcare affordability, disability-related issues, and district-level community engagement. As for us, I wanted to first mention Minority Leader Whalen and Councilor Emanuel and their work on the PA 490 working group at the state level. That work is critical to farmland across the state and here in our town. Since our last meeting, several members of the council, along with the mayor and deputy mayor, have continued our active work at the Capitol on bills that directly affect Rocky Hill and municipalities like ours. I want to highlight a couple of testimonies that we did, one on Senate Bill 408, which is about fire safety inspections and non-resident landlord registration. Mayor Smith, Deputy Thoreau, and I submitted written testimony on behalf, well, at the request of the Connecticut Fire Marshals Association, because one section of that bill closely tracked the concerns we had already raised on other legislation. I'm also proud to report that Mayor Smith and the entire town council submitted bipartisan testimony in support of House Bill 5501, and I testified in person before the Planning and Development Committee on behalf of Rocky Hill on that one. That bill would give towns more practical flexibility in how we use our existing town aid road funding for things like drainage, resiliency work, vegetation management, equipment, and other preventative infrastructure needs. I really want to thank Mayor Smith, Deputy Mayor Thoreau, Minority Leader Whalen, and the entire council for speaking with one voice on that issue. That kind of unity does matter, and it shows that when we all have common interests, we can lead with a big voice. So thank you for that. Lastly, committees at the legislature are wrapping up their work over the next couple of weeks, so the process is now shifting from public hearings to more complicated stuff on how bills end up on the floor. Once a bill clears committee, the process becomes more structured, but not necessarily more straightforward, because leadership decisions, timing, and negotiations all start to play a great deal of matter in it. I'm monitoring dozens of bills that could affect Rocky Hill, including a lot of ones that we haven't commented on. There's one before the legislature right now that would restrict the kind of data use around speed cameras and the types of stuff we're talking about, so definitely keeping a close eye on that. But I will keep working with the mayor and others to make sure that our voice is heard in Hartford and that the bills that are most important to our residents keep at the front of the discussion. Thanks.
Thanks.
Can I just, one thing, thanks, Zach, thorough report. When Senator Lesser mentioned the concierge tenants, I said it every time, let's not forget about the town.
Yeah.
You know, there's an expense to the town that we are gonna feel, you know, so I'm glad the tenants get taken care of first, but let's not in the back
Totally.
end.
On that note, I'm sure the mayor can speak more directly about this, but I know that in the background, the Attorney General's office is continuing to work on that second element of the deal with them, and that the conversations have been ongoing.
Great.
Our entire state delegation's been on that.
Yep,
Yeah,
excellent.
I can touch on that later, where we're at.
Sure.
School liaison?
The Board of Ed did adopt their budget, but they have not filed the official budget with the council yet, so I'm going to wait till we get it so we can review it, and then we'll give a full report, hopefully next meeting.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda, item number 6. We'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
Oh, yeah, because it's, okay, that's why you're here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, thank you. All right, old business. Item number 7, discussion, possible action, public arts policy, proposed revisions.
Was that tabled at the last meeting?
We tabled at the last meeting. Do we need to, take it off the table? Or were we just in the discussion?
No, you were just in discussion.
We were just in the discussion phase anyways. There wasn't a motion on the table, right?
Just wanted to check.
Okay. So where are we at with this?
Well, sounds to me like we've gotten a lot of good public input tonight. I was happy to hear from folks on both sides of this. It seems like there might be a happy medium in here somewhere. I see the policy that we put forth a couple weeks ago as really mostly just focused on expanding flexibility and not taking anything away from the decision-making process that is very strict and runs right through this room in every case. I'm certainly open to the idea that there might be a specific carve-out that we want to make of spaces that are not necessarily where we want to allow for public art. But I am very much in favor of making this policy change in terms of flexibility.
I think we heard from a couple people, tonight with specific reservations around public buildings. We've heard a little bit from safety concerns as well. I shared I believe with Councilor Whalen, I shared with you the safety study that was done regarding roadway art specifically. Hopefully you were able to share it with everybody else as well. I think that addresses kind of some of the safety concerns there, hopefully as well. And hopefully everybody has had a chance to read the redlined version now, and the version without red lines, or blue lines, or brown lines, or black, whatever color the lines were. Hopefully everybody's been able to see that by now. So yeah, I mean.
Can you just expand, for those that haven't seen the safety, can you just explain what that is a little bit more? I know that we as a council, I didn't know if we wanted to elaborate to say that there was a.
Yeah, so.
Study done in more recent than some of the others that were identified that showed.
Yeah, so the most comprehensive study of roadway art specifically, and once again, this is talking about roadway art. This is crosswalks and painting streets and stuff like that. The most comprehensive study of that was done by a Bloomberg-related organization in 2022, and it found it was across multiple states, 17 different locations, that roadway art, aesthetic crosswalks and things like that actually were more safe for pedestrians, less traffic conflicts between pedestrians and vehicles, less accidents, and it's really the most comprehensive study of that. And there's really not any other evidence that shows to the contrary that I've been able to find. And I've also shared the state's opinion on this, the DOT's opinion on this, the federal statutes related to the MUCD, I forget what it all stands for again, but MUTCD. And so the federal standing on aesthetic crosswalks and how that relates to moving traffic and safety. But I mean, number one thing, I don't want us to spend 4 months talking about this.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I think that the policy in place right now was voted on by 9 members of our council when it was all approved. So I think it's very important that we go through every change and have a discussion about every change that's in here. So that may take some time. And we could have, you're changing the big bulk of this policy. And I think it has to be opened up for us all to communicate on each step of the way where you want to change. So that's what.
I mean, we've had this for over almost a month now to review.
But we have not talked about each change. If you want, I'll start reading what changes of the policy are in place here tonight. And the first one here is common space, community space. What's the definition of community space for this change? What do we consider community space? I'm at a loss for that.
On the web for what's the
Google's going to tell us, apparently.
Good to know that the AI is following.
Yes, Siri has some input on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oops, I said that was mine now.
That's
Okay.
yours.
So we did have it, if you want to call it limited, into the parks where the crosswalks were and sidewalks and walkways could be used for public art. But I don't understand what the term community space means. Where are we expanding to, or is there no limit to community space? Any town building facility, is it all open? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, so.
To start it with.
Okay, so yeah, in the section, the initial section there with edits, removing the section that says it's defined as crosswalks, sidewalks, walkways, park spaces, and replaces that with community spaces. Just the initial statement it's just changing the underlying statement of this, that the original one was just saying only these things.
Correct.
Versus this is saying the statement relates to all community spaces, not just crosswalks.
For the purposes of this, correct me if I'm wrong, we're basically saying, yes, municipal-owned or controlled spaces, as written, would be very general, based on this definition.
So basically, we are saying there is no restriction.
I'm saying that as written right now, that it suggests any
Yeah, as
space
written
that
right
the
now.
municipality controls.
As revised right now.
As revised right now.
Not restricted.
So there is no restriction. It's not defined, essentially.
Which is why my initial comment on the subject was very open to the concept of finding a way to carve into that a little bit. But the general idea being that instead of a very small prescriptive list of what the spaces are, very, very narrow, this is a flexible, broad term that we can now, in this process, come to some agreement about.
So Zach, what are you proposing?
Exactly. Yes.
You guys
they're
cool with me
proposing
making
community spaces.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
and we've heard, we heard tonight from some folks, and we've heard your reservations around municipal buildings, not wanting on the side of building, brick buildings, et cetera, or schools or something like that. I mean.
No, but what I'm saying is it has to be specific. We are discussing a public policy
Yes.
here. Let's get specific about, and I like the idea of going through
Yeah.
that revision,
So
each one
with
of it.
regard to this, to answer your question from my perspective,
Yeah.
this is about saying that it's widely any municipal space, but I would offer an amendment myself that would constrain it by saying that it would not apply, it would exclude municipal buildings, exteriors, and would exclude schools and school grounds. So and basically, frankly, we could even frame it as any property controlled by the Board of Education to make that a little bit more broad as well.
On the outside, we don't want to
The
restrain
outside. There was discussion here before about how the inside of buildings is a whole different story, especially in
They
schools.
actually have some murals on the inside.
But I did want to make sure that in all of this is all within a framework that you all agreed on before about how the town council would review and decide on these. And so any decision about this, I heard some of the commenters worrying about causes and things being put up there. The current policy, that parts of it that aren't being changed, no text. There's no text. So getting across messages, yes, you can get across messages without text, but we will have broad discretion as a council to say no to just about anything. And I think, frankly, we're pretty reflective and nostalgic about our identity in this town. So I think that we're all going to have a little bit of a high bar there.
Yeah, respectfully though, like we can get to that if we get to that one by one, right? I think the first point is like if we need to define things, right? So what do you propose? Let's put it on the page, and put it in the revision, right?
My proposal is
let's
to
put it in,
amend-
and then move to the next one.
Well, my proposal
and
is
that's
to-
fine.
is
That's
to-
fine. And then we'll get to like who decides what, right? Which
we
commenter
should-
also mentioned here, right? So let's take it step by step. That's all I'm suggesting, Zach, right?
Well, I can agree with that. I just don't think there are that many steps involved. It's a short document.
All right. Let's go through it.
And I would just say,
let's go through it.
Like that paragraph, that first paragraph is the only one that really adds anything. Everything else is just taking away some language to open it up more.
Yeah, but why do it otherwise if it doesn't change anything?
Okay.
I mean,
No, I'm not saying it doesn't
if
change anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that everything else is not adding new language. It's
Sure.
removing restrictive language.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So let's discuss what we removed. Let's put it that way.
So first paragraph, we have kind of an understanding of where we're standing on it. Just
Yeah,
that
let's
first
go through
paragraph. We just
Well,
talked
he
about
ju-
the
he
community
ju- he
space.
just
We have
did it.
an understanding of that. Okay.
Well,
Community
what's
spaces
the
minus municipal buildings.
And school grounds.
school
That's what we're saying, basically.
outsides, school building outside.
If we were to amend it. We would basically have as written minus municipal.
Basically, any town buildings.
Any
Is
town
removed.
buildings, basically, right?
From the
That would be
exterior
removed.
of
So you went
town
from
buildings.
universe down to a world, okay.
I would be very specific and clear to say that it would be the exterior of municipal buildings and then school buildings and school grounds. Do you follow the difference, or the difference being that
Interior
if
versus
there's
exterior,
space
yeah.
on a municipal property that's not the building itself, that theoretically could be open to this. But again, town council approval on everything, so. Do we want to go to the next
I
question?
think that helped define,
What's the next? Let's move on to the next. What's the next
Yeah,
part?
let's move on to the next one first, yeah.
I
that's
also have a problem with crosswalks in town. There's a lot of data from the federal government about not approving artistic crosswalks. I'm going to read a bunch of information. I have some Connecticut DOT information also about it. So I won't ask you to bear with me because I come from public safety background and I'm a rule follower as well. The federal government gives us guidelines. Granted, our town could do whatever we want on town roads. But there's recommendations put into place by the federal government for reasons that they don't allow it on state roads. So bear with me, I'm going to read some stuff from the Federal Highway Administration and the MUTC, as we said it earlier.
Is that from the most recent MUXI, 2023?
No, it's not.
So you're reading old stuff, so just make sure that you're, because I believe that Alan had just provided more recent stuff.
Okay, can he read the most recent stuff then, please?
You can read what you've got.
No, if I'm not going to be accurate, if I'm not accurate, then
Because the main,
let's read the recent.
Generally-
I don't want it generally. I have specifics that I was going to read. I'd like you to read your specifics.
okay,
that
I'll
are
give a second to
favorable.
bring it up. I'll bring it up. But in a nutshell, it doesn't say that you can't do it. It provides guidelines for if you do it. Like, it doesn't, there's
then
nothing
should
in
we-
MUCD that specifically says that you can't do aesthetic crosswalks.
No, but it says they're unsafe. That's what
It
the part
identifies
is.
the inherent risks involved and
Correct.
something like that, but I'm not sure the language says specifically that they're unsafe. Is that the specific word that's used?
I'd have to look it up here, what I have. They're potentially dangerous and non-compliant with safety standards.
And then it goes forward to give concepts of how you would do it in the most safe way possible, right?
No, don't have that
Okay,
information.
okay. I'm just curious. I'm just asking the question.
So, in a nutshell, well, I mean, I can read the exact quote from the 2023 MUCD, which basically just says that it's not part of their purview because an aesthetic crosswalk is not a traffic control device. MUCD controls, what they oversee is traffic control devices. And an aesthetic crosswalk is not a traffic control device. So this is what it says related to that. It says, if non-reflective colored pavement is used as a purely aesthetic surface treatment, see section 3H03, within the provisions of this chapter, and are not intended to communicate regulations, warnings, guidance, or other information to road users, the colored pavement is not considered to be a traffic control device, even if it is located between the lines of a crosswalk. So in a nutshell, what they're saying is, if you were trying to paint something on the road to control traffic, then they would deem that as unsafe unless you did it in the specific way that they want. But what they're saying is aesthetic surface treatments on a roadway are not traffic control devices, therefore it's not even something that they regulate, if that makes sense. And basically the CTDOT says the same thing.
If you're not talking about regulation, Alan, due respect, we are talking about common sense. If it says there that they are not the safest thing to do, we are not going to do definitioning of like what are, traffic control devices. Is that what you're going to put in the policy? that we are not worried about the traffic. I mean, I'm just serious. Like, I mean, what does it mean, what you just read? I really don't know what it meant. From a practical standpoint of allowing public art on crosswalks, I really don't understand it.
Means they have no actual jurisdiction on crosswalks.
And we are
to
not
say
discussing
they're
their jurisdiction.
unsafe.
We are not discussing jurisdiction. We are
Let me
discussing their
finish.
recommendation.
They can't say that it's unsafe if it's not in their jurisdiction. And in fact, Alan shared a big comprehensive study showing that there is no correlation between not being safe and traffic crosswalks that are aesthetic.
It was, see, I'm not worried about jurisdictions here. That's not what we are talking about.
Okay, but you're a data guy, right?
Yeah, so
look at the data.
He read a code, right? Fran read a
Old,
code.
outdated code.
Is it outdated?
Not the
When
federal highway one. I don't have the newest.
When was it coded? I'm just curious. I'm seriously curious. 1999?
It could be 2013. They update. My understanding from what I've looked at because I've looked at all of this stuff to try to disprove, because it comes up often that people say, oh, it's going to be unsafe, because it's not normal like your striped crosswalk, correct? People say that it is going to be unsafe. The problem is there's no anecdotal evidence that says that it is. In fact, there's data that says it is more safe to have artistic crosswalk because it draws more attention to somebody standing in a crosswalk. The 2022 study that hopefully was shared with all of you says that there's a 50% decrease in the rate of crashes involving pedestrians, 50% less in an aesthetic crosswalk or a painted roadway.
Who did that study?
Bloomberg.
It's a peer-reviewed study?
Yeah, it's...
listen,
it's a peer-reviewed
It's a
study?
study that's been done to date.
Yeah,
I'm just
it was
asking, like, who
prepared
reviewed it?
It was prepared
That's
by
all.
an engineering firm.
Telling me you don't believe in Bloomberg.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, I see a lot of polls and quotes and studies out there. I mean, we all
I
do,
hear
right?
ya. We
I
all
don't
want
believe
peer
everything
review.
that is on the internet. That's all I'm asking, if it's peer-reviewed or not. That's all.
And so...
In painted crosswalks, generally you're going to be where traffic is lighter and there's more pedestrians, where you might have slower speed limits, okay? So I'd love to really look into that study, because Punkage is onto something. You can make data to your friend any way you want, right?
So find me a study that says the alternative.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to look for that, Alan, because, we just talked about, we don't want to spend 4 months, but guess what? You just signed us up for, like, every other meeting, we're going to be adjudicating whether we should put up art or not. So we can't talk about taking more time. This is important to get it right here, because I don't want subjectivity when the time comes, because we already are going to have a ton of it by the mere definition of art, right? So we got to have guidelines. And when you first proposed it, I don't know if this was like a red herring, say community space, so we can settle on not municipal buildings and school grounds. I don't know that. But I will tell you, community space, that's like, what are we doing here, So why didn't you initially put in municipal, were you hoping we could do the buildings, the side of the buildings, by the way? You were hoping to ruin our buildings, okay.
I would like
I'm
it
good.
to
Go
be. I would like it to be as open as possible, and let us or whatever other sitting body make the decision, yes or no, if we like it or not.
Our art is by its very nature
Better go to art school.
subjective, is subjective form. And I, if anything, would be looking at all of these questions, crosswalks, the safety. That is the point of us deciding on individual projects when they come before us. I know you think that we need more guidelines around it in the policy, but that's the thought process that led to such a narrow policy that no one came forward to try and activate it. So when it comes to art, I think that we have to be flexible. As far as what was our intent? Was our intent putting this? I'll be real with you. I did not write the language of this new policy. I reviewed it and saw it for what it was, which was a broad generalization that would probably get worked down in discussion, because that's the purpose of what we do here. So yeah, I don't think we need to spend multiple meetings going over this, because at the end of the day, whatever we do on it is still protected by the review process on any art that comes into town.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. Are we saying we are going to review this in the broadest terms possible, and Pankaj Prakash is going to be the arbiter of what is art and where should it be put out there in the town? Is that what we're saying? I'm not ready to take that responsibility, to tell you the truth, because I don't know what art is, and is it my response? how responsible can I be in deciding that?
You as a town councilor are making lots of decisions for this town. Why can't you make that decision? You're not a person who is a financial manager, are you? And you make decisions on the budgets here.
Well, I do run a big team, and I
Okay,
do make
all right.
financial decisions.
All right,
I
so
do.
fine, but bad example.
But thank you
you
for
know what I'm
asking that.
saying.
I do have some qualifications
good.
regarding that. But that's not the point. That's besides the point. The point here is,
Art.
personally speaking for myself, I don't want to be the arbiter of art and where it should be placed in town. Number two, it's a huge responsibility for this body to come together every few weeks or every few months, right? And decide, for example, on a First Amendment issue. Okay? I'm not ready to take that responsibility. Let me be frank, and you can play this like wherever we need to play this. I don't feel comfortable taking that responsibility on deciding on First Amendment issues. And that's why I want this policy to be as precise as possible, because then I can actually take that responsibility and work with what we have defined as a team. The broader the policy, the more uncomfortable I get in deciding those issues. That's all I'm saying. The more precise it is, the better it is.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Mayor? Does the, apologies for not knowing this answer, I don't have it in front of me. Does the policy have any statements about no hate speech, religion, those sort of
Yeah.
things in it?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah, we
have
basically
already
followed the
those-
guidelines of, I believe, the town attorney put it together and reviewed the revision.
So we have those guardrails already.
Yeah, the town attorney put it together, I believe, based on the framework of other towns that had, projects come forth.
And there are some adjacent towns, such as, I believe, Middletown and other towns, that this has been very successful, and they're not spending every town council or city council meeting talking about art every single time.
There's a number of there's a number of towns that already have it, not just in Connecticut, but all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, Worcester has art on their sides of their buildings all over the place, and many of them are quite awe-inspiring. But I understand why we wouldn't, I completely understand in our small town why we wouldn't necessarily want to put random murals on our sides of our brick buildings. But I do think we need more art.
I was on the council when we voted for the current policy, and the only reason why I voted for it, because it was better than nothing. In essence, there's one crosswalk that we're able to put art in, and that's just not acceptable. So I don't disagree that, maybe we need to define a couple things a little bit more, but we want it as open as possible so that people can have the expression. We have restrictions in there about certain types of speech that are not permissible and so forth. And ultimately, the council has a decision to reject if there's something we think that it's not suitable, or if they don't maintain it, we can order that they remove it, and it's at the cost of the people putting up the project. So we need to make changes in this policy because it's just not acceptable the way it is.
That's your opinion, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
I would like to add, there's something from the Connecticut DOT, and this is 1924, or 2024, sorry, that says, the top priority is for the safety of pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers. Some pavement markings, such as those that convert travel pavement into a defined delineated pedestrian-only space, is generally accepted, which is your normal crosswalk with the white lines.
It doesn't say that, though.
Other treatments, such as within a travel lane, can be causing concern to other road users. In addition, artistic surfaces create a challenging for pedestrians with low vision capabilities and other mobility concerns as they navigate a sidewalk or crosswalk. So I just want to point that out as well. The Federal Highway Administration, which oversees with our government, has asked communities in the past to remove colorful crosswalks in Lexington, Kentucky, Ames, Iowa, St. Louis, Missouri, Austin, Texas. So there is a reason why the federal government doesn't approve of that on state roads. So I'm just bringing up safety concerns from, and as I say, I'm a follower of safety for all our people. Other towns may do this stuff. We as a town can do it. It's not a state road, it's not a federally regulated road, but I'm just concerned about it, crosswalks being painted and our town roads.
Counselor Whelan, do you mind if I ask a question? Are there, outside of the crosswalks, are there other spaces that you're concerned about public safety relative to this?
No.
Okay, so in terms of the public safety issues that you're concerned about, it is narrowed in on that one kind of thing, basically because it's
Crosswalk.
on the roadway.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why the last policy in place, there was somewhat of a compromise that in the park, it's low speed, to do stuff in that area is a safer area of travel.
This is not necessarily a question that actually leads anywhere, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's just because I'm not as familiar with every park in town. Outside of the one park where the policy allows it for right now, are there other crosswalks at other parks? Are there other?
No, but there's parking spaces, there's sidewalks, all that was in the policy that's in place
I
right
guess
now.
in the strangest way, the question for me is because I walked all these neighborhoods this past summer, but I don't have quite the layout in my head that you probably do after all the years you've been a resident. Are there any places in town where you sit there and say, you know what, an aesthetic crosswalk in that area is probably not as big of a deal because X, Y, Z, that sort of thing? Or is it just blanket, you feel like it's a public safety hazard on all of our town roads, or do you think there might be?
I think it's blanket on all town roads,
Okay.
for myself, for safety
fair enough.
concern.
That's why I was asking. Okay.
I'm not against public art sculptures, flower decorations, all that stuff, I think is all good. I'm glad that we took them off town buildings or the Board of Ed buildings, the exteriors. I'm thankful for that we're not going to do that.
But we still have to amend it. But yes, we're basically, we're on board with the
working
exact
that
same
way.
thing.
Yeah.
We're there.
But if we want to continue, we
Yeah,
can just continue.
please. We can come back to the public safety thing, but that helps to know that it's just that thing in terms of public safety for you.
So further down, the section around location is scratched out. That one would be removed because basically that section says only crosswalks, sidewalks, walkways, parking spaces located in public parks. It basically repeats the section from the statement portion.
Why do we take out number 3 under location? I think we should determine that wherever they're gonna put work is in satisfactory condition.
Well, I think that's part of the approval process anyway. I believe that is already covered under a different section. It's under procedure, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it has the 12-month plan addressing installation, maintenance, and removal is all under procedure, and then preliminary review, I believe.
That's maintenance and removal, but.
I think that was for, road or parking lot spaces that our community development and the Park and Rec, make sure it's, good pavement.
I think we gotta make sure that's in there. I mean, I didn't see it, and this time I
Okay.
could read the revisions and understand it.
Yeah. You had a couple of weeks to go back over it,
no, it was all
and it
different
was color-coded
colors. Yeah.
correctly.
Sent
Got
it
it.
out on March 3rd, correct. So I don't care if it's put in the other area, the procedure area, but I didn't see it, but I definitely could have missed it, so.
Yeah, I believe it was in
I know why
another
you took out the
section.
other two things, because the other part that was deleted is redundant, so you
Yeah.
get that. I don't know if number 3 should be entirely removed or moved to the procedure part.
I will say that just briefly looking again at that, I'm not seeing language that looks like an exact replica or at least the exact meaning of number 3.
Yeah.
And as far as what number 3 is trying to convey, I totally think it makes sense. that we-
Number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Keep
put,
it.
leave it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be amenable to leaving that in.
So can we, somebody who's got it in a physical form, just put a little asterisk on that, like that will be towards any potential amendment that we might put on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Under design,
Well, okay, go ahead.
unless you had more.
No,
to
no,
ask
go
about-
ahead.
okay.
You're moving on, yeah.
Under design, number 1, public artwork cannot obscure or interfere with markings required for safety. I think the idea of that was just removing the crosswalk part, so it's any markings for safety. Even,
2 and 3, are self-explanatory.
yep, same idea.
I'm gonna ask about 5.
I agree.
You know, I don't know, I guess that's part of the review, you know, but you also took out number 7, which was, we wanted to ensure quality installation, so we wanted to, art, by the way, is, I think you got rid of the stencil thing so that an artist can be an artist.
Yeah, they can just
Okay,
paint, so
okay.
it's not, you don't have to.
I agree. I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing. But that being said, does that mean they can then write whatever message they want afterwards?
No, it has to get, previous approval
Okay,
through
well,
the normal
we
process.
just took it out, though. I'm just saying, we just took it out. So I think, I think messaging is something that is important to know when we're reviewing a piece. But,
It says it shall not contain text, word messaging, or advertising.
well, no, you're taking that out.
Right.
So you're allowing it.
To be in
Taking it
the,
out, you're gonna allow messaging.
if it's approved ultimately by
Okay, so they
the
have
council.
Okay, so then number 7, where, we don't need to know the particular design, but we are gonna know the messaging there?
Yeah.
So you're gonna put it back in? Simple question. That's what he's asking, really, right?
But the design, any text messaging or that's still in the design portion that has to come for approval.
Okay.
Even if we take out the messaging, or even if we take out that line item, line number 5,
Yeah.
then the design part says, as it's currently written, the November 2024 version says that there can be no text, there can be no words,
Correct.
messaging, or advertising.
Correct.
So
What I'm
you're
saying in
and I get that, you're okay, but allowing it, by taking it out, you're allowing it, so.
Correct.
When we now review the design, okay, I know we still have the town may reject for any reason, okay?
Yeah.
But on the new number 8, okay, you start to say what guidelines it has to follow, right?
Yeah.
And we adjudicate it, so, graphic or explicit depictions of sexuality or violence, works that ridicule or demean people based on their beliefs, race, gender, sexual identity, ethnicity, nationality, or personal characteristics. At some point, if they're gonna put messaging in there, I just hope that we know it before they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we would get a design mock-up before somebody
Okay,
writes anything on
okay.
the street, yeah. And
I know we're gonna allow divergence from that, but.
And I
not
think the
divergence.
only reason why specifically, because one of the questions I had was like around advertising.
Yeah.
But the thing that I thought was, we may be able to get a private organization to pay for something. And would we allow them to put a badge, Liberty Bank, paid for by Liberty Bank?
I
For
assume you're imagining a
example.
situation where it isn't the bank with the art idea, it's somebody else with the art idea.
And it's funded by them, or funded by a nonprofit, and that their stamp is on or something. That's the only reason to not explicitly say that, no, we won't do any advertising. We're obviously not doing it as an ad, but.
I'm very uncomfortable with sponsorship.
Me too.
Point blank, but it's your decision. We didn't allow it at Little League, we didn't allow, that's just, and just recently, we didn't allow it at the high school on athletic fields. And I just saw it happen like this year or last year, and I'm like, for a reason, we didn't do it. you know? So sponsorship, which is advertising.
Right.
I'm not comfortable with advertising. End of story. That's public space. So that's a no-go from the, doesn't matter whatever we discuss, for me.
Yeah, so basically, like, if we use it for commercial purposes and call it art, this is where I was going when I said I don't want to be the arbiter of art. Now, advertising is art, yeah. If, you know, that's the problem with this. There is no clear line here, right, which we won't cross. It's too broad.
Oh, we can make it a line, though. I mean, I'm not.
I mean, we can, but it's not as written today, like as revised today, it's
Yeah,
not.
I understand your
Yeah.
reservation around advertising. I think that would only be in some limited, you know.
Not lost on me is that the subtext that I'm hearing from all of you is that there's some safety in specific guidelines, especially if somebody gets upset by a decision of this council regarding their art project, right? There's some of that too. Like, we want to make sure that we are in a good space. What we have written seems to be okay as far as the town lawyer feels our protections are concerned. That's why I feel pretty comfortable with where it's at, but I'm also very comfortable with making all of these carve-outs we keep talking about. If advertising is another thing that's a real hang-up, I'm sure we could discuss that as well.
Yeah, I just don't want to pay.
That wasn't in here. Yeah, that wasn't in
Yeah,
here.
I mean, anyways,
fine.
yeah, we can move on.
The text and word messaging, though, you know, so we may want to do a welcome to Rocky Hill or something
No,
like
I-
that. I think that's why, like, limiting, like, 0 words
I'm
is.
good, just so that we know it's gonna be in there before we approve, as we.
Yeah, the design has to be approved by the council
I
ahead of
think
time.
any messaging in that design would have to be approved.
Yes.
Like, that,
Yeah.
that to me is necessary.
A design mock, for instance, perhaps
Could
we
be a
amend,
mock, yeah, I don't
perhaps
care
we
how
amend
they
the
write
language
it.
to say that any textual elements must be included in the mock-up that you present in order to be included
Yes,
in the art.
yeah,
So in
yeah.
other words, it must hit that point in the process that we see any textual elements. They can't make a change after that. But
They cannot advertise, because advertisement is considered a sign of,
Yeah.
you know, by
Well,
zoning.
there you go.
So-
there's a whole thing around sponsorships and how
Okay.
they can be treated. But
There you go.
we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, so are we playing Don Draper or not? I mean, what did we decide here?
I'm
Yeah, we're-
personally with what you guys are saying about returning to having a no advertising and also having something that carves out that textual elements must be included in mock-up designs before we receive them for a council vote. But I'm fully with the mayor on wanting to allow for textual elements where appropriate.
Then, number 7, we're good with no stencils. And,
Well, that certainly excludes Banksy from showing up.
yeah, no artwork by Banksy.
Okay. Sorry, Banksy.
Bummer. And then, number 8 is, what's that? So then, number 8, I think, was just moving the numbers around. Because it was, because 7 was removed. I think that's what, essentially still saying, you know, graphic or explicit depictions are
Is
not
beliefs
approved.
intended to be religious beliefs?
Can I be honest, that last bit in, I don't know if it's called 8A, but 8 bullet point, can't we end that sentence at demean people? And just say that anything that demeans anybody is not something we're going to be okay with? And don't have to even carve out any specific space. We can just say, if you demean people.
The mic.
Sorry, it's on. It is on. We could just say that to demean people in general is enough, that it wouldn't be acceptable. Don't have to carve
I mean,
it out.
I'm a big fan of less is more.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have, listen,
That makes
that is
sense.
the message
That makes
is not to
sense.
demean people, so.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Could I also suggest that number 9 be changed to say, the town may reject proposed artworks for any reason or no reason? In other words, we don't have to give an explanation for a vote against a project.
My only, I mean,
At its discretion.
Well, that's what I mean. I want to carve out the notion
yeah,
of
we have the attorney here.
basically discretion without having to answer for the why.
Yeah, well, rather, so you're saying for any reason, so you have to have a reason. At our discretion just means we decide we don't want it.
Okay.
We don't want it.
Yeah, that's,
Yep, at their discretion. Yep.
Because I think it was important to leave that line and the last line in there, no matter what else got changed in the middle.
What are you looking at? What line?
Line 9.
Yep.
And then the final line of the policy, which says, the town may order the removal or may remove the public artwork after providing written notice to the requester at any time in its sole discretion. That, I think both of those basically mean everything else in the middle. There might be some thing that comes up that we're not gonna think of. As narrow as we try to make something, there's always the possibility of something else that we don't think of. And so when you have the ability to say no, or you have the ability to take it down for no reason, or take it down sometime later, that's the catch-all. And that's, and that was what was originally signed off on by the attorneys anyway.
I think I would use the sole discretion language again in 9, instead of for any reason, just say this, our sole discretion.
At the town's sole discretion,
So we're consistent.
up on number 9.
yes. Procedure basically stays the same. And it just specifies any public art request or suggestion shall be submitted in writing. Lays out the timeline. The procedure doesn't change at all. I think that was just a language change. And everything else stays the same right up until the removal.
And I think in the procedure stuff, it addresses the safety and visibility, and I think that's where it would go through, obviously would go through the police and so forth. So if there's a particular intersection that the chief decides would be too busy for whatever reason that we should not have, then we should, obviously not gonna put artwork there. But I think there are several crosswalks that would be.
And we know very well that the town engineer is not going to sign off on anything that he thinks is not up to par.
So before we get to the removal of the artwork thing, honestly, the 3 concerns for me were safety, content, and the last one is the maintenance, we already did this 4 months ago, and I apologize because I forget how we got here, but somebody has to be able to determine the cost of either maintenance or what the cost to remove that artwork, because that's at the cost of the artist or group that.
Yeah, the artist has to,
Right.
we set aside some money in a separate account that we have access to be able to paint it back to.
Remove it or whatever.
Remove it or paint it back to its old state.
Right.
That is under 5, installation. There's a little bullet point there. Prior to the start of the installation, a cash security and amount to cover the cost of repairs, maintenance, and removal of the artwork.
Yeah, that is there. I just want to, I want to make sure we get that right, because this scope got a lot bigger, potentially. And, I don't know how we're going to determine that cost, by the way. I guess that's on you, Ray, or.
Well, that should be brought up tonight, I think, yeah.
It says as determined by the town.
Finance
Well,
director.
This policy goes beyond just painting, right?
Yeah.
And you got sculptures and what have you, and so the team that would be internally reviewing this would be Joe Lentini, Steve, Mona for bond surety, and the costs for maintenance or removal or what have you would be based on the artists and estimated cost, plus what it would cost for town crews if we had to, an hourly basis,
Right.
what have you, and also materials. that would have to be taken out of the cash surety, but it's no different than Steve working on a bond for a subdivision road or a site plan or a parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we keep that there, because that's going to be vitally important to keep the cost away from the taxpayers.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the removal of the artwork, right, they have a 12-month display duration. And it says if there's no additional approved requests, which is fine, before it was just approved requests, to display the artwork, they would stay in that location, correct? So what I get a little bit, what I maybe could foresee is there's gonna be like 3 or 4 prime areas, right? And, if I was doing something new and I wanted to get in the prime area, that doesn't seem fair to the person who's already there, but it's not fair that it's not available to other people's as well. So that's another level of decision-making we're gonna have to make. Are we gonna push them off to, oh, you can do it, but we're gonna put you over on, East Street, which nobody's there,
Yeah, I think.
Those are things, I'm just saying, you're gonna have a lot of groups, and that was brought up by the public, that once they see this stuff coming up, maybe you're gonna create this onslaught, because we were too restricted before, but now we're not. So, I'm just, that's gonna come up. I mean, do they have the right to go after the prime spot? Because I wanna be where that group was. I'm just asking.
I think the
Do we keep
point,
pushing them
the
down the road?
point of this section was to say, if you're gonna install something, it'll be there for at least a month, or at least a year.
A year, right.
It'll be there for at least a year. And if somebody else comes after that and says, hey, I want to paint on this prime crosswalk, then that'll, that would be go through the approval process.
Okay, so again, that's another decision. Okay, yes, we'll take the artwork. Now we're gonna decide we're gonna bump the other people.
Well, the way that it was originally written was, if somebody else comes with a request, it automatically bumps the people that were already there.
Approved request, right? No.
No, it
Okay,
didn't used to
request.
say approved.
Okay, the approved I like. I'm good with that. And maybe this was a hole that we didn't address when we voted this in November 2024. I don't know. But I'm just saying, that's gonna come up.
Hopefully it comes up with so many people that want
So the artist that did a
multiple-
great piece of work 12 months ago is now gonna get erased. And by the way,
Not
pay for it to
necessarily.
be erased, right?
Yeah, but not necessarily, only if it's.
Only if we say yes.
Yeah.
Right? So again, there's the decision, right? There is a can of worms that we're opening up is the bottom line, but that's okay.
What's your thought process? I agree with the approved request, but what's your thought process about this 12 months you're taking out and all that stuff?
David, so what you suggest?
I'm asking, I say leave it alone. I agree with putting the word approved in there for the approved request, but then leave the rest of it alone.
I'm just trying to, I think it looks like, we're removing, the requester has to submit a written request after a year and get approval to keep it for another 12 months.
Right.
I think the point of removing that is just saying, hey, if nobody else comes along, you don't have to submit a request and then it stays. It just stays until somebody else comes and says, hey, we want this spot. Or the town comes and says, hey, your mural is starting to fade and we need to fix it.
So to clarify, you're proposing less approval. So before it was every 12 months we had to review it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's less work. So I think that's good.
Okay, I understand now.
No, I didn't
I'm
think
okay
it was
with
that,
that.
by the way. I thought it was just, they needed another approved request in order to be bumped.
Yeah, I think it says,
Well, it guarantees them 12 months, but after
Yeah,
that,
I'm
somebody
fine
else
with the
could
guarantee
take
for
the
12.
spot. Somebody else could take the
fully
spot.
intended, yeah.
if during or after. Yeah, I think it just made it overly complicated, you know, with the way that it was written before.
All right, so just so
you know?
the intention is there, if somebody comes and requests to have that spot that was taken for 12 months, and they get approved before the 12-month, whatever. By the way, are we giving them another full 12 months if nobody else
Well,
is
that
in
was the
line?
other thing, is that the way that was written, it was like another 12 months, nobody else can come back for another, what if somebody comes 8 months later, you know,
Fine,
or
no,
20
okay,
months
so
down the road?
so what are you saying?
They're guaranteed 12 months.
Correct.
So
No, I get
somebody comes in
that.
18
Month to
months.
month after that.
It is
Yeah,
month to month?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
month to
Just
month.
like a
Right.
lease. All right.
Yeah.
It's just like a lease.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's, yeah.
Not to add to this, but it just dawned on me that I don't see a way that we can carve out here that allows the town to decide to keep something. I mean, for all we know, somebody might come to this council with a project that goes up, and within a year, we all kind of look at it like, wow, that's kind of iconic. That's kind of like, that's us.
There is.
It could happen. I'm
Somebody
just saying, it
comes, we
could
don't have to
happen.
approve it.
Not
Or
expecting it,
removal at any time.
but maybe we need some language
Yeah.
that says that we can have the discretion to keep something if we choose as a council.
I think we just keep it by default.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I don't think we need to.
And then we just order removal at our sole discretion,
Okay.
Yeah.
or the town's sole discretion. Council, yeah.
Supreme Court.
So is that everything? Is that everything?
That's running through the document, but it sounds like we still have concerns around public safety and crosswalks specifically. And forgive me, what else have we not resolved in this discussion?
No, I think we're good. I think there's a couple of, we went through everything and we're good. We're saying that we're gonna take it off municipal buildings and then make these edits we just talked about.
And you're forgetting the crosswalk part.
That's what I said.
That's what we've been talking
It
about.
sounds
is
to me like
That's what I
we're-
thought these edits were about, crosswalks.
So we're not gonna do crosswalks on public
No,
roads.
I
So
thought you were.
That's my
allowing it.
concern,
That's yours.
about the safety of it.
So if you were to write the amendment right now, you would include, like, just, if you were making the decision on your own, that's what you would add to it. You would say, no crosswalks that are on public roads. That's what you would do if it was in your case.
Correct.
Like, okay.
Can I make a
Right.
suggestion on the crosswalks?
Sure.
Is there something in the review process which discusses public safety? If you could add to that, that would give you more comfort that
That's what I'm
there
gonna
may be
propose.
some crosswalks on public roads that would be suitable. I agree that there's certain ones that, you know, that Silverstein Highway, you probably don't want it on Silverstein Highway.
Well, we can't there either.
Well, even
Yeah,
assuming it was a
state-
town
State
road.
road, yeah.
So, maybe,
But-
let me speak to that maybe this will help. So, there is language that towns do put in to ensure compliance with the federal highway interpretation of artistic challenges. So what they've said is that if they are outside of the typical white ladder markings or within between, it's okay. So we could say that crosswalks will be installed using the MUTKIDI, whatever you said, MUTKIDI compliant ladder markings. Decorative pavement art may be placed within or adjacent to the crossing area, provided the required white crosswalk markings remain clearly visible and are not altered.
We already have that in the design section too.
Then that should comply with everything of the federal highways concerns and safety.
Well, let me, my first
John.
comment. Just to that, doesn't that muddy up? If you're gonna keep the white lines and just have drawings within those
Yeah,
white
yeah.
lines, doesn't that defeat the purpose of having somebody put something down there?
No, you still keep it within the white lines. You just keep the white lines.
You can put other things.
'Cause the white lines are reflective.
Graphics and text in between.
But what's in between isn't reflective.
I just can't envision, you know, a painting or whatever with white lines going through it.
No, not in the middle of it.
No.
Not in the middle of it,
It's
just the
lateral?
On the
exterior.
edge, yes.
Okay, I misinterpreted what you were saying then, okay.
To outline the path that the pedestrian should take.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those
Yeah,
are
I thought
reflective.
those,
No,
curved lines are, okay, all right,
yes.
I'll go back.
You're,
Can I, Ray, how do you remove, painted lines on the roads last more than 12 months. I know they fade, but outside of milling it, how do you remove that paint?
I don't know how that paint would be removed. I know you have to jackhammer lightly grind off the pavement markings or paint over them. If you want to remove them, you have to, you know, you're on
Or you
any
could
town
paint
road.
over them?
You just paint over them.
You can paint over them.
Is that the way you do it? I mean, now it's a different color, like I gotta prime my house when I do a different color. I'm truly asking.
No, I do think that's generally how it's done. When I lived in Washington DC, I remember at one point that they covered up lines by just painting black over them.
Yeah, that's what they do when there's road construction. They have to, move the lines over because they're working on one side, and then they move them back. They just paint over the line.
Okay, again, that's at their cost.
And that's
okay.
the applicant's cost.
I think that's difficult to determine, and that's something that's really got to have a lot of thought in, how much security bond's going to be put up
Yeah.
for a painting once. For artwork or sculpture, obviously it's not going to be that expensive, but
I think the cost of painting a road is probably pretty standard, and probably Steve, our town engineer, probably have that data.
And we just pay for the paint, and pay for the time to do it, and that's it. So the edits that we've got to the revised proposed policy include adding back in under location, item number 3, to say that the public artwork is going to be applied in a satisfactory condition as determined by the Director of Community Development or designee, Parks and Rec Director or designee, and the town planner. So basically saying town staff is going to review and make sure that the surface is good. The next one is that public artwork shall not contain advertising. We can also add that text must be included in the design mock-up, or any proposed text must be included in design mock-up. And number 8, under design, we eliminate everything after work that ridicules or demeans people. Includes all the race, beliefs, gender, sexual identity. If we just work that ridicules or demeans people. And then item number 9, the town may reject proposed artwork for any reason at the town's sole discretion. But crosswalk's still hanging out there.
well, you didn't exclude the town buildings or the Board of
Oh,
Ed
yes,
buildings either.
yes. I don't know, does somebody take the language for that?
Exterior, exclude the
Yeah.
exterior.
Public artwork is defined as work.
What's going on?
Municipal buildings or any Board of Ed properties.
Yep, outside of municipal building or, I think,
Any Board of Ed.
or any Board of Ed.
Building or grounds.
Building or grounds.
Council of
Yep.
Building. Yeah. Right.
Including.
We're losing half our council?
Do we have a quorum? Do we still have a quorum?
He's going too.
Somebody make sure they're not caucusing out there?
Yeah. You guys work out a deal?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Work out a deal behind closed doors?
Wow.
This is a secret meeting I've heard so much.
Locked himself.
The key's on both sides, so.
It was either come through that door or text her and say, can you let me out?
I've honestly done that before, so.
And I opened like all the doors, and I'm like, I don't know where it's going. Sorry.
All right.
So sorry.
So we just went through every.
I heard everything.
We actually just agreed to everything. So great, moving on. You missed it. No, the only thing that we didn't nail down the language around was excluding any municipal buildings or school
I
buildings.
would say Board
or-
of Ed building.
Yeah.
Well, The language that I had written down
That's your
as
exterior, though.
as an actual amendment language, if we were to just do that, it would be that that public artwork shall not be permitted on or within, or I guess on, forgot the within, on municipal buildings, school buildings, or on property owned or controlled by the Rocky Hill Board of Education.
Sounds good.
You want to put exterior part, though.
That's, we could put that, on the exterior, we could say that, on the exterior of municipal buildings, school buildings, or on property owned or controlled by the Rocky Hill Board of Education.
What if like the art class wants to do a sculpture or do some kind of painting?
The grounds around a municipal building would be available as common spaces, but the exterior of the building itself, under the way that this is written, would not be available.
Why
for it.
wouldn't
On
we
the
be able to
building.
put it on the ground?
School grounds, though.
Just not on the building?
I think that would be Board of Ed decision.
That was
if they
more,
wanted
that
to-
was
would
more
be
a deference to the Board of Ed, and that the town wouldn't take a non-school related public art project and put it on a school ground.
This won't exclude them from being able to do that.
No, this would not
Wouldn't
exclude the Board of Education from making decisions about the property they control.
Kind of.
Sort of.
Our facilities.
Did we come to a decision on
Yes,
crosswalk?
well,
I mean,
well,
I would
that's
say,
the-
can we make a motion to approve, with these discussed changes as discussed, as well as adding the no municipal exterior, but I think we have to wait for Mukesh. Oh, there you go.
Just to be clear, did we come to a different decision around crosswalks, or are we staying where we're at?
I don't think we came to a different decision around crosswalks.
No.
Okay.
There is only crosswalk in the whole store.
You know, I would suggest that the town manager rewrites this so we could read it. I'm not a big fan of adding things and saying add this and add that. I'd rather see this document back at the next town meeting or council meeting to vote on.
Yeah, we made
And read
about
it.
five revisions here.
With all of us having kind of a, person-to-person agreement that we're coming back to vote on it.
Right. Oh, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Not making it.
I'll entertain a motion. Somebody wants to,
Well, it'd be just tabled, right?
motion for that is
Oh.
just,
Is it a
Motion
table?
to table.
We can table this.
Yeah, so I make a motion to table
A second.
the
Second.
public arts policy.
It's for an updated,
to make the
for-
revisions.
For the respectable changes
For the next meeting.
for the next town council meeting.
Is he okay with that?
Second.
We got a second
Wait,
discussion.
he's-
Discussion.
He's got
Motion to
something.
table and not discuss them.
Ray has a
Ray,
question.
what do
Ray
you
has a
have?
question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding the crosswalks, were they included or
The
excluded?
rest of the policy is as we wrote it up before we got in here, so I'd say it's still included.
Crosswalks are included?
Those changes we discussed, that Alan just went over.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? Table?
Yeah.
Aye.
Just plus 2 hours.
Aye.
I oppose. I want to prove it.
All right. Where are we? Does anybody else need a 5-minute recess?
Move to recess.
You have to
for 5
catch
minutes.
everybody.
You get a motion?
5 minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. See you back in a hard 5.
Reminds me of my grandpa.
All right. All right, we're all back. Almost. There. Ray, do you want to, well, next item on the agenda is,
Making a motion to return.
would somebody like to make a motion to return?
Move we return to session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, next item on the agenda, shared services and operational assessments. Ray, would you like to get us started?
The document that was just passed out, the little chart, that has the option 1, 2, and 3. If you recall, the council wanted us to reach out to CGR to get a price for public safety, which included the police, fire, and EMS, and the highway and public works. This chart identifies two quotes. The column that says quote is the cost for public safety admin only. The second one down, the quote is of $97,000 is public safety admin and operations for the fire, police and fire. And then the public works and grounds is $70,000. Going to the right column is a quote for what Mona wanted to do. She broke out, she asked for a quote just for police. No, thank you. For police only. For police admin only, it would be a $45,000 price. And for public safety admin and operations, it would be $67,000. So those were the because the other prices came back before these were broken out. They were pretty high. So Mona asked to say, you know, how much would it cost if you just do like police admin only, or instead of just like the whole police department with patrol.
I know, and I'm sorry, my voice is like treacherous. I'm sorry, but so yes, their original quote was the column left, and then we went back and said if we removed the fire and EMS, what would it be if you did police admin? For clarification, admin, we explained to them according to an org chart from the police, which was from the chief, lieutenants, sergeants, detectives, and any non-patrolling patrol officers. So it's that group of 11 out of the 50 plus. And then the 67,000 would be complete operations of the police department, compared to what was to the left column, which was looking at police, fire, and ambulance. Alicia, I don't know if you said there was 4 requests sent out. CGR was the only one that responded back to the request. So we had 3 other vendors who actually have done similar processes throughout the state on these areas, but they did not respond. So we still have CGR who did respond and did the follow-up.
Did they not respond because they don't want to do it, or they just are a
Since I
little bit
didn't
slow?
respond, I'm not sure why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a reminder question? And I could have pulled it up, but what is the Public Works budget from last year, and what is the public safety, just so I can,
That's okay. I brought that with me.
okay, so 10% would be
I did.
10,
Yeah, approximately.
10.5 million?
Give or take.
So we had the public, excuse me, the Public Works with grounds was a total of 3 million, the 2 groups together. Then the all public safety, which was the admin piece, was 1.4 million. Let's see, if I were to, let me see if I could separate out the fire admin on that. So that would be and this is rough, like 1.2 million would be police.
So what about the operations, if Mona, if you include the
And all of
operations?
it with operations for police?
For everything, for operations with public safety.
All public safety, 9.3.
Police, fire, and EMS.
Yeah, was that?
9.3.
That's what I
increase.
mean, 10%. I told you that before.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
How much control do we have over the EMS? What do we give them? We don't give them much money. And we wouldn't have much say because it's nonprofit.
Yeah, which is really why I went with the alternative to see if it was police only. Yeah, right now, the budget for ambulance, yeah, we've got about 200 that we're paying for Aetna ambulance service. Otherwise, we're paying for pension, health insurance, and we give the volunteer a small, around $10,000 for whether they wanted to buy computers or, just a discretionary fund. So, yeah, the volunteer portion of it is minimal. It's probably less than 100. The pension's about 65.
Those are all controlled
Correct.
things that we can't change
Would not
anyhow.
be-
or we
no,
wouldn't
not a
want
lot of
to change.
flexibility.
Correct. So I don't know if we pulled the EMS out.
And the fire, it seems, right?
I
And the
think
fire.
fire should stay.
I
Fire
thought you
and
said the
police.
fire wasn't much
For the admin.
for the admin. Oh,
right.
okay. For the, but the operations.
The operational side.
Yeah, I think we should not even like worry about admin. It has to be admin and operations. Otherwise, you just don't do it. I mean, it's 1 million versus 10 million, so.
It's too
Yeah.
small.
Yeah,
I'm open
right,
for
Mona?
anything.
Like, right? I mean, you're going through like the 1 million thing. I mean, it's like, let's just not do that. It's fine. It's not worth it.
It was like the 1 million
Unless
for the
we
Board
get-
of Ed
yeah.
admin.
Yeah.
Right. Like I
one
said, I
place,
don't
so.
disagree one way or the other with any of these. I think my concern was, I know we did the 65,000 of contingency, and I saw the results, so just went back and asked the additional question in
So
case you
it's
would
a-
prefer to fit
Fair
to the
enough.
budget versus.
Is the reasonable approach option 2 without fire EMS? It would be police only at 67? Is that? you
That's
feel
what
way,
that
too?
column is, yeah.
What's fire for the budget overall, do you know?
Yeah, I think I brought that one with me.
Including
Let's see, we would be looking at,
Admin and operations.
1.7 million.
yeah,
1.3.
yeah, 1.3, 1.4.
I mean, if you really wanted to do it, we can put $40,000 in the upcoming budget. It's not like that's too far away. If there is a will, you can do it. $40,000 in a $100 million budget, that's what we're talking about now. So I don't see, if there is a will, there is a way. I don't see 100,000 as a big deal, really, on a $100 million budget. It's 0.1%.
I hear you. I'm going to definitely remember those words as we're going through budget workshop.
Yeah, for something we have not done
Efficiency.
ever.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Yeah, if you're gonna tell me I'm gonna hire another person, that's a different, fair enough,
Right
right?
in my head.
Fair
Things
enough,
that are
fair
new,
enough.
we haven't done before.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, exactly, for things we want to actually like,
I hear
need to
you.
do. I mean, if we don't, again, like, I mean, it's all depends, like if you want to look deep or not. If you don't wanna look deep in anything, sure, we can keep spending the money. It's a $10 million budget for just public safety, right? I mean, you spend $100,000 for 10 million, I would do it tomorrow. But you're not me, so that's okay.
I know that what you're saying makes plenty of logical sense, but for some reason I can't shake this feeling that it's like, just put a little more down on this spot on the roulette wheel right now. Like, because we've been worrying about the expenditure of it and whether we're going to get it back.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think, I think John mentioned this last time, if I remember correctly. It's, I will be happy if they said, there's nothing wrong with this department. Like, there is nothing. We are doing everything great. It's like the best run department in the whole state. Sure, I will take that.
I'd agree with
I don't
that,
think
too.
I don't think you're going to find that with fire, though. I would rather put, I mean, if we're going to put any additional effort, I would certainly look at town hall I mean, there's a thing on the prior spreadsheet that we were given for proposal, that there's a lot of overlap between HR and payroll. Not that we're going to be getting a couple $100,000, but if we fine tune what's the operations of town hall with certain departments, then I, as a taxpayer, would certainly feel more comfortable knowing that our tax dollars are being utilized well in town operations. But I wouldn't put 100% of it at just public safety. The police, I would be an advocate for option 2, police only. And then if we talk about a phase 2 later in the year, then we look at the municipal departments.
What was the figure on those? Do you have it?
Without the Board of Ed, finance, admin, and HR was between 45 and 48. And if you add HR, that's another 23, 25, so that's 70, roughly 70, 75. That's for 4 departments.
What is the percentage of the budget if you take those 4?
It could be tough. I mean, right now we have the contingency and being aware that the 65 was set aside. I will say from the last financial we did, I'm concerned about what this snowstorm has done. I think we're like basically at 150% for the overtime for snow removal, and salt is pretty bad, and this is where I'd get it. So I'm, as well as a couple of retirements that go there, so it would be close. I mean, it would be my recommendation. I mean, seriously, I think if we went with both, I would try looking at freezing some discretionary expenditures throughout other departments.
Do you have any recommendations for freezing?
For freezing, when we make the freeze, we do it across all. It's just, any non-discretionary.
Okay.
If they,
What, I thought you were gonna have the recommendation, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I meant, but
Okay, we should do here from your end, finance end, do you see if we were to do any of this, the best bang for our buck, if you wanna say? Do you think? Is there an area that you think?
In the town, I think what John said might be the best, but yeah, I guess we would look at it. Could you put them all into that one table that you created with the colors that had the budget and then I think that would be helpful.
yeah, and
I
we
know
did
more
have
work,
I don't think I don't know if I brought it with me, but we had asked all of these vendors when we're in the very early stages of what would be the best bang for your buck.
Okay.
And they did come out with that, and I don't know if I brought the table with me. If not, I can have it for the next.
I mean, the phased approach is not bad too, actually. Like if you go like phase 1, phase 2, that might give us a little bit of cushion on the budget side, but also see like how it plays out. That can be a possibility. You do a phased one.
So in option 2, the police only, but that's admin and operations, so is that the whole police budget, or is that still does that include every patrol officer?
The second line, so option 2 that says police only is everything from dispatch to records to patrols. It's the whole.
Okay.
The entire.
So, I mean, that's certainly a much larger budget number than just police administration.
For sure.
Yeah. That's 7 million instead of 1.
Correct.
And would include equipment and everything else. Yeah.
And I'd say I know if we're like thinking down the line, I would not rule out that Public Works, Parks, Grounds as an option as well. I think you may see something for overlaps.
And that's a
in the
similar dollar amount,
phase
right?
2.
A little bit lower dollar amount, but maybe more like equipment, less people, but more equipment and other expenditures like that, right? Yeah.
Mona,
Similar dollar amount.
Just so I'm clear, Mona, when we give them these budgets or, you know, whatever they're gonna purview, whatever, that includes what their proposals are in the future, right? Because, you know, I know in Public Works, we have that new building, whatever, that would be part of the scope of their review, I would hope.
If we ask it to be, it will be.
Okay, okay. Just,
Meaning it
it's not
wouldn't
just what
increase
we've
the
spent,
price.
it's what
Yeah.
we're about to spend, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if they would come back and say, yes, you need a larger facility.
Well, yeah, no, there's two edges to this sword, yep.
So like for Public Works, they may come back and say, well, you know, this small older building is costing you more money because it's less efficient or whatever. You should be ready to, you know, get a new building or whatever, just out of, you know, hypothetically. Same thing could be said on, for public safety on the police side. Maybe they say, well, based on your scheduling and overtime, we recommend you hire more police officers, and that will end up saving you money, you know, or make better services, or, you know.
It could happen.
I like Counselor Emanuel's thought. Just go police and operations now, and if we want to later go after town hall stuff. But in any case, I'd support that.
I think you were saying to do both, just phase it, right?
Phase
You
it.
weren't saying just
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
one, yeah, yeah.
It's just phased. But you should, I mean, we want to include police and fire in there, right? The first one.
No.
No?
No,
I don't,
I
I mean,
think we're
personally,
saying
I don't
just-
think we're gonna get that much out of fire.
I don't have anything to say specific other than anecdotally, I've seen some of the stuff that the fire department does, and I wonder if we really, like, they probably are getting a lot of good use out of the dollars they do have.
And they don't ask a lot every year on the
But
budget.
open to it if it's critical to you. I think if we start with police, and like administration and operations, that's a big chunk right there. And the fire department takes a lot in as, you know, from other sources as well, more so than our police department. So I think we could come back to that in the future. If phase one of this works out really well and we're finding we're getting efficiencies all over the place, maybe we think it's a more.
I think going with your 10%, the 7 million for police of admin and operations, and getting it for 67, which is less than 10%, I think it's a good, more bang for your buck.
Would this go out to bid?
You know, well, we did the RFPs at
We
this
did.
point, so.
This is
no
the bid.
responses, so
We got one
could go
back.
back and rebid it.
Oh, you did it for
Yeah.
that? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I thought you just reached out to these people to
So
look at this.
it was not
Oh,
a,
okay.
it was not a formal process though.
It was
She
an RFP, right.
Yeah.
Just went out for quotes.
Just, yeah, she sent an email out
Yeah.
saying, I need a code.
And gave them the 10-day option, and there was no response, so, yeah.
I'm wondering, like, Counselor Kaplan has said in the past, like, we asked for police, but she always recommended, well, what would fire cost? You know, sometimes she said these companies put a lower rate on, just to throw in that as a good faith thing. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
that's
would,
possible.
I agree. We could go back and say, hey, you know, can you
Just to
make
see.
a best price? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You know,
I agree. I think we
just
should do that.
thinking, you know, because I'm kind of interested in fire, he's kind of interested in fire.
Yeah, could you come down
Just to
on,
see,
and
yeah.
add a, you know, come down and what would be police and fire, and with best price, please?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, as we learned with the other, it is manageable to the point as we are the ones that decide how many people they want to interview. So if we
Okay.
say you're gonna go to fire, but, you know, don't interview every firefighter,
No.
you know, then you know, so we can control it to an extent.
Yeah.
Obviously, they wouldn't choose to not interview people that were appropriate for decisions.
So how would you recommend going forward with that? Do you put out another RFP, or you just ask these people because they're the only ones that responded?
Do we want to basically set it up so that we accept one of the options we have now if we can't get some better, like, best price to add in fire? Do we say that we would approve it?
I'd rather hear back.
Okay.
And then we can just have a quick 5-minute conversation and get it done.
Yeah, if we can get the table of it all together in one, so we can kind of say, all right, it looks like police in town, you know, admin or whatever is good, and we know we need to account for an additional X amount potentially for phase 2, and hopefully we can make a decision on the next meeting.
Works for me. It sounds like we're gonna have a very decisive next meeting on a lot of subjects, so.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right.
Now,
A lot of votes.
Your
Budget season, we gotta get
Zach,
it done.
your favorite part, you will be able to make a motion and we will vote on it.
Part is disrespect.
We'll let you do a motion.
So just to
I'll let you-
clarify, because I think you were kind of getting off the track a little bit, are we just looking at police and police, we're kind of leaning towards, I think?
Yeah.
And is there a way that they could do something for fire?
I'm going to
Is
ask
that what
them.
we're doing right now?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to ask for that.
If they could bring a quote for include fire.
But didn't,
It doesn't have,
isn't that what they did?
Well,
Isn't
they had
this police and
ambulance, which
fire?
was small.
DMS.
TMS as well.
Too, but then we're gonna kind of say, hey, best price too.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just
Does that
bundle it.
work for you, Mona?
Yes,
But we've also already, option 2, police only, is already our entire budget for this.
yep.
So if
Exactly.
they come back and they say, hey, we'll throw in fire for $5,000, we're already like technically over budget.
At that level, I have a feeling that we would all be amenable to
Right.
making a decision in that moment and
Well, I
amending.
mean, by the time this gets rolling,
budget.
Yeah.
we'll have approved.
We'll have flying, the
next-
police will
the
have
next
flying
budget
cars
anyway,
by the time
So we
this
can
thing
add
gets
it in the next budget.
Yeah.
We'll all have jetpacks.
Yeah, we may have to add a little bit onto our budget.
by then I'll have my salt delivery in. I'll know
Oh, good.
what I can
I will
afford.
know if we can afford it. Okay, good.
Gotta have salt.
So it's tabled?
Okay, so we're all clear where we're at? We've narrowed, so we're all in agreement, we've narrowed it down to just police now, admin and operations, and see if we can get it with police and fire and your lowest and best price.
Got it.
Although you didn't have the list of what they suggested were the most impactful.
Just gonna bring that.
I'll bring that, and
Yeah,
we're
I
really.
just want to, I want to continue it after
Yeah.
next meeting too.
Okay. These were the.
See, the meeting's already getting
all of that
longer.
with-
Next
so we
meeting's
can make
already
it-
getting longer, adding it back on.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We are making motion or?
A motion to table
we-
the
it's-
next
I
meeting? or
think we
do
just keep, yeah,
Yeah,
Keep-
second.
Okay.
all in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Keep it on the table. All right, new business, discussion possible action, land preservation trust fund. Is this Mona, you as well, to go through that, or does John need to? go over it?
I can go through it and Mona can caveat.
We can save Mona's voice a little bit.
Mona, talk.
So the Land Preservation Trust Fund is in the budget, and it was first enacted in 2003. And the simple purpose was it creates a permanent legally protected pot of money that can only be used to buy, protect, and improve conservation land in Rocky Hill. So why does this matter? It turns land preservation from a year-to-year policy choice into a long-term financial commitment. This was slightly amended in 2007, but nothing, over the past 20 years, nothing has really happened to it. There's currently 27, I believe, close to $28,000 in the account. It actually should have 50 according to the ordinance. But what we want to do is put more attention to this fund and start having some money go into it. Just one caveat, when this was first proposed a little over 20 years ago, there was no community farm, so nobody thought of expenses for something like that. So the ordinance itself is very constrained with what money comes in and what you could apply the money to. So what Mona is proposing is two transfers into this fund. And what I countered with, since we have, we talked about this at Finance.
Yeah.
Since we have a large headwind with the budget, there's two transfers, one for close to 50, the other close to 150. Keeping the 150 into like a non-recurring that Mona can use for the upcoming budget, and transferring 50 into this fund. And then, long-term, I'd like to speak with Councilor Whalen on proposals to amend the ordinance so that there isn't any problems expending some things like at the community farm. But ultimately, according to the ordinance, everything has to come to the council. So more things to add. So that's basically it. It's a transfer, this particular request is a transfer of, I forgot the exact amount, Mona, the 49 and
The
change?
49,828 to the land trust.
Right.
And the 148,321 to the non-reoccurring fund.
Correct.
You have it backwards.
The
No, but no,
documentation
right.
says otherwise.
Backwards.
It says it's the reverse of that on the document.
In our, this is the right one.
Non-reoccurring.
Foundry.
49.
The foundry was 49.
The foundry was 49.
Yeah, no, it's right.
So that account is going away, and that money would go into the trust. The other, the 149 and change,
148.
148 would go into non-recurring.
Correct. So, yes, no, I'll clarify, it's not wrong, it's not backwards, just for clarification. The first line is presently in the non-reoccurring fund, and it is named Foundry. So if any of you have listened to me, probably to the point of annoying, in order to take something out of a designated purpose out of the non-reoccurring, you need resolution. So we're saying this little 49,000 that is currently in non-reoccurring for a purpose called Foundry should go to the land trust. Then after further discussion, the portion that is in an account called Real Property Acquisition, 148, is recommended to go to non-reoccurring with no designation. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really
Is that,
What's it used for that 148,000 then? What do we, is it, where's it go or what's it do?
what that does is I know you've seen my finance reports before. So on non-recurring, you basically have a purpose. You can be working on sidewalks, you can be doing the foundry. There are sections that are called undesignated, and the only time that can have a purpose is by resolution. We come back, we have a resolution and say, we have a purpose for this designation. Maybe we'll do something during, it's a budget process and say, perhaps we'd like to use that 144.
Does that come to the town council for a whole vote or just
It goes
finance?
to finance and then through, right?
Just finance?
Then it
No, no,
it
then
comes
it comes
yeah,
to
council.
as a consent.
But then it comes as a consent, so we don't have any talk.
Not always.
Well, you can pull
vote.
it out.
You can pull it out for consent.
Take it off consent.
Yeah. And just keep in mind that the restriction that does occur with that is it can't be operational. So it'd be those things that are more of a non-recurring type. So it'd be, basically that.
Use it for
You can't use salaries, you
Town
can't do.
farm, the
Exactly.
The garden or
Right.
something like that.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So, I think the best to understand it was, I hate to do this, but it was kind of found money. And now that we've found it, we're gonna take what we had land preservation, because the land preservation, that hadn't been touched, or whatever this was originally designated for 19 years.
Right.
So we're trying to get the money that was excess in the other. So we're trading $100,000 to get, the contingency fund is gaining $100,000
Correct.
of the found money, is really what it comes down to.
You'll
And
actually
we
get
still
the
have
whole
to
150.
designate the use of that,
Yes, you're
should we
right.
come to use it somehow, some way.
Correct.
I think it was a fairly easy discussion. We did vet it pretty thoroughly.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So.
Ready for a motion?
Whoa,
Yeah.
what's that?
Okay, so I'll,
Sure, yeah, you sure? We can just
We
have
need
a
to go through
real quick
finance.
discussion about it in like 2 weeks.
okay. Whereas the Rocky Hill Land Preservation Trust Fund, whereas the town of Rocky Hill established the Land Preservation Trust Fund in May, actually, that should be 2003, for the exclusive purpose of funding capital improvements and non-reoccurring expenses on land conservation areas owned by the town and the acquisition of additional conservation and open space properties. And whereas available funds have been identified in the real property acquisition fund for the purpose of land preservation, oh, actually, scratch that, I want to go back.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
After space properties, open space properties, it should say, and whereas available funds have been identified in the capital non-recurring fund received and unexpended subsequent to the Foundry Riverfront project in the amount of $49,828. Be it resolved that the above land preservation funds below be transferred to the trust fund and hereby are reserved for the purpose of the land preservation trust as reflected below. From account 40950005950, non-recurring Foundry, $49,828. Do I add the real property acquisition too? In that? Just for transfer purposes?
Go ahead, and I'll correct you when you get to the last part.
Okay. From account 51950005950, real property acquisition, $148,321.47. To account 789004820, land preservation transfer, and the amount would be $49,828. And then to account
4095.
4095, non-recurring,
0000, right? 5950,
5950,
description undesignated.
undesignated, in the amount of $148,321.47.
I'll second. I was there, so second.
Any discussion?
Can you read it again?
Yeah, but, yeah, one more time, no. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right,
Mayor's report.
thank you, guys. So, mayor's report. First of all, we have announcement as of the last hour that Rocky Hill girls basketball is going to the Division II championship game. With a overtime win over Enfield, 1-point victory, 49-48. Wow. And led by senior Catherine Harding's 20 points. 20 points out of 49.
Had to give it a little more oomph than that. 49 to 48.
Yes. 49-48.
When's the game? The championship game will be either next Saturday or Sunday, the 21st or 22nd at Mohegan Sun. Tickets are only $12.
Okay.
Residents should consider going and supporting our Lady
All right,
Terriers.
reclaiming my time. I'm trying to keep this short, but that's good. That's great news. And it was great to see a bunch of people here to talk about stuff here. I hope we see this much participation from the public in our budget process coming up here pretty soon. We're going to be talking about that stuff and have all the budget hearings, everything coming up real soon here. We asked about concierge, so I'll just touch on that. The town is in communication with the Attorney General's office, who is negotiating with JRK in regards to what oversight looks like for us and them throughout for the next year or so, basically. What we've asked for is that they have a plan for maintenance, plan for, and if anything that they recently fixed breaks, and a plan for maintenance on all of the rest of the stuff that they're fixing now. And my ask was that that plan goes through all of next winter too. Basically the Attorney General's office is handling that, but they're in close communication with our fire marshal, building officials, and the town to make sure that, this doesn't become a thing that happens again. And to Councilor Savigny's point, we want them to acknowledge that, we had some significant costs related to this. And besides that, I just got to give a shout out to the Board of Ed held a Future Chefs competition today. I am surprised that I have made it past 9:30 after having 6 different dinners this evening from our students. We had 6 finalists that cooked stuff from all over the world, and it was great. And it was my pleasure to be there. I encourage everybody to look out for that next March and try to get on the judging panel because it was really good. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I will just try to share that online with everybody so we can move along with the rest of our evening. I would say just a couple highlights. We have the Harlem Wizards game coming up in a couple weeks through the Education Foundation. It's a fundraiser. I would encourage everybody to jump on that. And Parks and Rec has put out a bunch of other events that are coming up in the coming months as well. And I'll throw it over to the town manager.
All right, sorry. I think I'm catching whatever Londa's given me. Parks and Rec, in recognition of America 250 campaign, and to raise funds for the Rocky Hill schools. The Education Foundation is offering an opportunity to purchase the America 250 T-shirts, which you have a photo in your package.
You're not wearing yours tonight, right?
Black and white. 100% of the proceeds will go to support the Rocky Hill schools. If you'd like to have a T-shirt, you can contact the Board of Ed office and see Sandy for assistance, or you can do click the link below and within the photo, which is online, by the way. Some more mundane activities here at Town Hall. I'll go through them pretty quickly. Sidewalks. Several sidewalks being prepared to go out to bid. Central Hills Phase 2, Elm Street sidewalks, both grants. Hayes Road, which is in the capital improvement program for this upcoming budget. And Glastonbury Avenue, another grant languishing with the state right now. Bulky waste pickup at curbside has resumed, and the transfer station will now be open Thursdays and Fridays. Tax Department has sent out some delinquent notices for real estate, personal property, motor vehicle supplemental. Quite a few bills went out there. As far as planning and economic development goes, the town planner, Kim Ritchie, attended Economic Development Commission this past last week to discuss the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority district and how it will blend in with the Plan of Conservation and Development, to review specific tasks associated with the Plan of Development and recommendations specific to economic development, trying to get the commission to take on some of those implementation tasks related to economic development. HR completed multiple searches for a part-time custodian, a per diem custodian, a full-time office manager for the senior center, and the head mechanic and the assistant mechanic you just heard earlier. At Public Safety, I think, is being advertised. A position has been opened for a recreation supervisor in the Parks and Rec Department, and that will be posted this week.
Is that a replacement position?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
The town clerk has been meeting with the registrar's office concerning election-related bills and the upcoming primaries for the elections in November. And the required list of offices to be filled were sent to the, for the 26th election, were sent to the Secretary of State's office. That concludes my report.
Motion to adjourn.
I apologize, I actually did have one quick question about what he just said in his report. The town clerk met with the registrars. Did they meet with both registrars or just one?
She meets with both.
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a team.
We had a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a great evening, everyone.
Oh, boy.